Final few of our Bambino drivers come up and over the weighbridge. In the background, junior pro karts are getting themselves ready for their final. On pole position will be the number 24 of Jack Morris. Harrison Dunn, the final of our Bambino drivers, makes his way off the circuit. Thumbs up they are given to junior pro kart drivers. They are out in the background. So on the front row will be Jack Morris, and alongside him the number 14 of Kieran Lambert. Those two have run at the front all day and have not really troubled each other. They've just allowed each other to race their own race, and in doing so have found themselves alongside each other on the front row when it matters, and that is for the final. Behind them will be Asher Blythe in the 15 and the 38 of Aaron Alexander. Row number 3 will be Jake Richardson and Mason Barker. The 24 of Morris in the lighter of the two blue and red karts is on the inside. The 14 of Lambert will go to the outside. First season of junior pro kart as a class in the UK. And the two main championships both at Shennington and Teesside have been won by that man there, the number 38 of Aaron Alexander. Mason Barker lines up in 6th, Sandro Ballesteros 7th. Then we have the 71 of Brandon Jennings, Thomas Braid and Jacob O'Connor complete the top 10. Owen Spears 11th, Ben Hogarth in 12th, and Callum Booth, hoping to end the season on a high, will go from the back of the grid. Start line marshal gets the green flag ready. Engine notes rise, and we are underway in junior pro kart, and once again Kieran Lambert has slotted in behind the number 24 of Jack Morris, and those two will set off in their quest for victory. But behind them, coming through into 3rd from 4th place start, will be the number 38 of Aaron Alexander. Morris leads. Alexander makes the move to the inside early and makes his way up to 2nd place at the expense of Kieran Lambert, and now sets off in search of the number 24 of Jack Morris, who's led every lap so far today. So it's Morris from Alexander. Lambert tries to go back down the inside. Asher Blythe in 4th. Mason Barker a little way back in 5th. Is followed by Jake Richardson, Sandro Ballesteros and Brandon Jennings. As expected, Alexander sets the fastest lap of the opening round. 12 laps in this final for junior pro kart. And it's going to be very difficult for Jack Morris to hold off the 2019 champion Alexander, but he's coming under pressure from Lambert. Morris suggesting that they should all just stay as they are and head away. I think he thinks Lambert's still behind him, but he's not. It's Aaron Alexander, and I don't think he wants to be in 2nd place for very long. Ballesteros challenging Richardson for 9th. Booth is already up to 8th place. He's going to come through having taken Brandon Jennings on that last lap. So moving through from the back. Retirement early on for the number 42 of Jacob O'Connor. So his season's going to end prematurely in the pit lane. Booth trying to move away now from the 71. He's had quite a tough weekend all in, has the number 13. He's going to try and end his season on a high. Head down as he goes down the back straight. Followed by Braid and Spears. Morris, though, remains out at the front as Ballesteros battles with the number 9 of Jake Richardson. Ballesteros, a driver running double duties. He's out there with our 2 strokes later on in the day as well. Morris, though, remains at the head of the field with Alexander right behind him. Ballesteros can't make inroads. So the leading trio head out onto the backstretch. Lambert's broken away from the 14 of Asher Blythe. Up and down day for the 15 of Blythe. As Morris continues to lead. I don't know whether Alexander's biding his time here. You don't want to make a move too early. With 9 laps remaining, that'll be 8 as they come over the line. So it's Morris, Alexander, Lambert, Blythe, Barker, Richardson, Ballesteros, Booth, Jennings, Braid, Spears, Hogarth and O'Connor. As Morris continues what has been a faultless day thus far. Has a quick look back, certainly knows it's Alexander behind him now. The gap is consistent as 3 drivers go side by side. One of those was Thomas Braid down the back straight. I think it's Callum Booth as well, getting himself further up the field. Gap for the lead has opened out ever so slightly. Everybody with comfortable gaps until we get back to this battle coming through. 4 drivers with Callum Booth at the head of it. Hogarth, Braid and Spears all getting involved in the battle for 8th place, headed at the moment by the number 13 of Callum Booth. Jennings, Braid, Spears behind. Hogarth a little way back in 12th. O'Connor, unfortunately, off into the pit lane, into retirement. Booth leaves a little bit of a gap down the inside. Jennings looks interested, tries to get his nose down the inside, but he can't get it done. It's allowed Booth to open the gap up ever so slightly. Move, though, in the background. As we see Sandro Ballesteros closing right up on to Jake Richardson. Behind them, Booth. Jennings and Braid were side by side earlier on. Booth remains in 8th, Jennings 9th, Braid 10th, Spears 11th. As Ballesteros and Richardson try to close down the gap to Mason Barker. Gap, though, now for the lead sees Jack Morris open up a gap of around about half a second as we are at half race distance. Braid once again tries to get alongside the 17th of Jennings. Can't do anything about him and slots back in well before they get to the South Bank loop. Barker looks to be falling back ever so slightly into the clutches of a charging Jake Richardson in 6th. Ballesteros remained 7th in the bright green number 19 car, and we spoke yesterday about Sandro in the 19 and a new story that you can find on the BBC Sport website, which focuses on Sandro's racing along with another driver, Matty Street, who was racing yesterday at Silverstone in the Burkitt Relay. As we see Richardson make a move to the inside of Barker. Barker's going to try and come back, and he can't get it done. So Richardson moves up into the top 5. Barker down to 6th. Ballesteros getting involved on the back. Ballesteros is going to try and force him out wide. They're going to slot back into single file. So when the racing is done today, head over to the BBC Sport website and look in the motorsport section. You'll find a news story and a video regarding Sandro and Matty Street regarding their racing and how it's helping them with autism. So please do take time to go and seek that video out. It's well worth watching as we see Ballesteros try to go right round the outside of a very defensive Mason Barker in the number 41. 4 laps remaining. It'll be 3 when the leaders come through and over the line very, very shortly, and it's still Jack Morris at the head of the pack. Ballesteros all over the back of these as Barker gets a little bit of extra speed and gives Jake Richardson a little nudge to let him know he's still there, although I'm sure Richardson has no doubts about that matter. battle further down. Jennings has got in front of Booth for 8th. Braid and Spears remain 10th and 11th respectively. Out onto the back straight, the gap for the lead closing ever so slightly, lap on lap, but it's still Jack Morris. But it's down now to under 3/10 as Barker dives to the inside of Jake Richardson and slides through round hairpin number 3. Richardson's going to try and return the favour into hairpin 4, and he does, he gets it done. Sandro Ballesteros still there in the background, and they go through nose to tail. There is nothing between them. The battle is tighter than a submarine door, and it's currently being led by Jake Richardson in 5th. Barker 6th, Ballesteros in 7th as they head towards hairpin number 1. The leaders are onto the back stretch, and it's going to be a straight fight between Morris and Alexander. They'll come through in half a lap's time to pick up the last lap board, and then it'll be one final tour of the Teesside National Circuit to crown the winner of the final of the year for our Junior Pro Kart class. Over the line, Jack Morris leads by 1/10 from the 2019 champion, the number 38 of Aaron Alexander. Kieran Lambert a comfortable 3rd behind them. Asher Blythe 4th as well, very comfortable. Then the battle for 5th between Richardson, Barker and Ballesteros. Morris goes into hairpin number 2 in the number 24. Half a lap he's got to hold on from the 2019 champion Aaron Alexander. Round the South Bank loop. Will he go defensive to hold it off? Yes, he does. Keeps it nice and tight into hairpin number 3. Goes for hairpin number 4. He's comfortable. Puts the power down, and it's going to be a maiden final victory for the number 24. He's going to clean sweep the weekend. Jack Morris takes the checkered flag and wins Junior Pro Kart final for round number 9. A fantastic result for the driver in his debut season of owner-driver karting. Champion Alexander, there was nothing he could do about it and settles for 2nd place. Kieran Lambert comes through to take the final step on the Junior Pro Kart podium in 3rd place. Superb sportsmanship between the two drivers and appreciation for the winner, and a maiden final victory for the number 24 of Jack Morris. He's had a faultless day today and led every lap from start to finish, including a pole position. You can't get much better than that for a racing driver. As we watch the Junior Pro Kart class leave the circuit for the final time in the 2019 summer season. And for the first time we have a new winner. It is Jack Morris. Very pleased with himself, and so he should be, as he shakes his fist to the Weybridge camera. All the drivers giving us a wave for the final time as they come over the Weybridge. 3 more races here at Teesside Karting, and it will be cadets, 2 strokes, and then senior pro karts, and we'll have had 180 races here at Teesside Karting by the time the checkered flag falls for our senior pro kart drivers. Cadets already out and onto the circuit in the background, and it will be Bella Franklin on pole position alongside the number 20 of Catherine Potter, behind them the 11 of Gracie Mitchell. The formidable females here at Teesside Karting locking out the top 3 places on the cadet grid. They will come round hairpin number 4, and the start line marshal will slow them all down and grid them up 2 by 2 and send them on their way. On the inside, the blue kart of Bella Franklin. On the outside, the number 20 of Catherine Potter. Row number 2 will be Gracie Mitchell, and the 22 of Jared Fox-Whiteley. David Mack and Lizzie Mentier will be on row 3. Ollie Poole and Ollie Buckton, and all Ollie row 4. Then we'll have Charlie Wyatt, who will start 9th, having retired from heat number 3. He'll start alongside the number 42, Enzari liveried kart of Leon Barlow. 32 and 47, Josh Harrison and Reese Penniston will line up on row number 6 in 11th and 12th respectively. We await the 7th row. And that is most likely to be Max Shields and Seb Corking, but we'll just wait to see who comes forwards. It's Max Shields and our leading 160 driver, the number 37 of Jack Thompson, come through and line up on row number 7. So Thompson leading 160 there on the outside. Then there'll be a bit of a gap back to the next 160, but we've got 52 of Sebastian Corking and the 81 of Ethan Girling rolling forward. Then we've got Isabella Stanmore-Wilson in her 200 on the inside before we find the next of our 160 drivers, the 14 of Finlay Fishburn. He'll line up alongside the 25 of Jack Boulding. Final few drivers rolling into position. 38 of Potter lines up in front of the 77 of Pawsey. That's everybody into position. Start line marshal will make his way to the head of the field, and we will be underway for the final time this season in our cadet class. Green flag is up, the green flag is down, and we are underway. And once again, Catherine Potter cuts to the inside to fend off Gracie Mitchell, and the three of them will run line astern into the first corner. 1, 2, 3. As it were. So it's going to be Franklin from Potter and Mitchell. Fox Whiteley slots in front of Mac. Mac's going to dive to the inside though at hairpin 1. Try and get P4 early, and he's going to get it done. Arm goes up by Fox Whiteley. I'm not sure he was that impressed with the move, but nevertheless, it's allowed Charlie Wyatt through as well from the 5th row, and he's up to 5th place already with 10 laps of cadet final in front of them. The lead trio are well on their way to breaking away at the front. Let's see whether they start to mix it up early or whether they work together to break a gap and then leave the arguing for later on in the race. Behind them, Fox Whiteley has dropped back a number of places. He's all the way down now in 9th. He's gone right the way down. He's all the way down. It's unfortunate for Jared Fox Whiteley after starting so high up the field. Looks like he's gone off and into retirement as Oliver Buckton goes a little bit wide going through the chicane section as Gracie Mitchell has the front end of her kart chopped across by the 20 of Catherine Potter. Charlie Wyatt trying every which way to get past the bright orange helmeted David Mack in the 16, and they're all going to need to find a way as Ollie Poole will go to the inside of Charlie Wyatt, running wide out onto the thing. Wyatt's going to return the favour. And then Ollie Poole's going to try and see if he can cut back to the inside. He can't, but Ollie Poole in his first outing in a 200 doing superbly in the O plate, running up in 6th place. So out at the front of the pack, it's Franklin from Potter and Mitchell. Then they've got a good second gap back to David Mack, Charlie Wyatt, Ollie Poole, Ollie Buckton, Leon Barlow, Ethan Girling and Sebastian Corking round out the top 10. Then we've got Reese Penniston, Isabella Stanmore-Wilson, Max Shields, Josh Harrison and Jack Thompson is our leading 160 driver as Gracie Mitchell dives to the inside of Catherine Potter, moves herself up to 2nd place. Potter gets a good run out of the last corner but can't get alongside. Looks like Max seems to have broken a little bit of a toe from Charlie Wyatt, and he sits in isolation in the middle of the pack of the lead 3. There he is in the orange helmet, flashing through in the background. It's a lead, there's 8 cars in the lead pack. At the front, it's Bella Franklin. The back of that pack is the 42 of Leon Barlow. 20 of Potter gets a good run down the back straight and helps to push Gracie Mitchell closer to the back of Bella Franklin, but there right in the background is David Mack. He's going to get himself involved in this scrap as Gracie Mitchell gets the cut back on the inside, and she will go side by side with Bella Franklin. She's going to have to stick it out round the outside. David Mack's going to get himself involved there as well. They've managed to sort themselves out before they get to the chicane, and everybody makes their way through safely. We are 4 laps in to our 10-lap cadet final. Bella Franklin leading from Gracie Mitchell, going defensive already though at half race distance. Mitchell gets a good run out of the final corner, will go to the inside. Franklin's going to try and squeeze her tight, and Mitchell backs out of the move. Franklin then remains in the lead as David Mack goes to the inside. Can't get it done though on Catherine Potter. All of these girls at the front, very good friends, but once the visor goes down, it's every driver for themselves. Franklin will lead over the line once again. Potter chops across the front of Mack. He stays 4th, Wyatt 5th, Poole in 6th, Buckton 7th, Barlow in 8th, and now it's a full line. Everybody's backed themselves up into each other. The first 8 carts all come through, line astern. Potter goes wide. Mack's going to try and get round the outside. Will he get the cut back? He's gone wide himself, and Charlie Wyatt's going to go to the inside. Mack comes across and defends, and everybody returns into straight line. Down the field, we see Jack Thompson leading 160. Kian McLeod in 2nd. Jack Boulding 3rd in that class. Franklin once again goes quite wide. She's going to have to squeeze Gracie Mitchell. Franklin's up and over the curb, spins 360, drops well down the field. She's going to go all the way to 7th or 8th, and we have a new leader over the line. It's Gracie Mitchell in the number 11. It's spread the lead pack out a little bit. Gracie Mitchell leads from Catherine Potter. Charlie Wyatt up to 3rd. David Mack had to take avoiding action, and he's going to drop down. Franklin currently being classed as 5th on the timing screen. I think that's because she went over the start line, still in 5th place, albeit backwards in a Days of Thunder style, and she's returned into the middle of the pack. She could actually be up to 5th now, actually, with Poole and looks like Barlow in behind, Buckton in 8th, but Mitchell now leads, and the lead pack has spread themselves out nicely in the background. We see Buckton trying to get past the number 42 of Leon Barlow in 7th. Barlow running probably as high as he has all season and reveling in it up there in 7th place, running with the lead pack. Mitchell, Potter, Wyatt with 3 laps remaining in the final cadet race of the 2019 season. Franklin slides down the inside of Mack as they go out onto the back straight, and she is up to 4th place. Now, though, she has a bit of a gap to try and close back down to Charlie Wyatt should she want to get herself onto the podium. Out at the front, though, it's Gracie Mitchell taking a defensive line from the 20 of Catherine Potter. They'll come over with 2 remaining. It's Mitchell, Potter, Wyatt. Franklin trying to close the gap down to Wyatt, though, but it's still 1.5 seconds back from the driver of the number 23. Isabella Stanmore-Wilson makes up a few places and moves into the top 10 in 9th. Corking and Girling dropping down a place each. We have Thompson in 17th, leading 160. He's got about a 2-second gap from the number 25 of Jack Boulding. Then Kian McLeod in the 54. So all of our 160 drivers running line astern down the field. And we've got Charlie Benson, Finlay Fishburne, Thomas Potter all running 160s as well. Mitchell comes out of hairpin 4. The last lap board will await her as she comes over the line. The next time round they will see the checkered flag, but who will see it first? At the moment, Mitchell leads from Potter. Wyatt, Franklin's behind and unable to close the gap on Wyatt. So the lead 3 as they come through. Mack is 5th, Poole is 6th, Barlow and Buckton 7th and 8th, before the gap back to Corking in 9th. And then Wilson rounds out the top 10 as they go down the back straight and into the South Bank loop for the final time. 2 more corners and then the sweeping bends for Gracie Mitchell. That's the first one. She's going to cut a tight line to stop Catherine Potter from getting the run. Potter does get a good run, but she can't get alongside. The checkered flag flies for the number 11 of Gracie Mitchell to win the final from Catherine Potter, and Charlie Wyatt takes the last podium step. Bella Franklin recovers from her spin to finish in 4th from David Mack, Ollie Poole, Leon Barlow and Oliver Buckton. Sebastian Corking and Isabella Stanmore-Wilson. Max Shields is 11th, Ethan Girling 12th, Josh Harrison 13th, Reece Penniston, Lizzie Mentier, Jared Fox-Whiteley. And on the final lap, Kian McLeod gets past Jack Boulding, so it's Thompson, McLeod and Boulding, 1, 2, 3 in the 160 class. So that brings an end to the Cadet Series this season in 2019, and every Cadet race has been entertainment from start to finish, and that one was no less, with Gracie Mitchell picking up the win, having taken the lead at half race distance with a move round the outside of Bella Franklin. Franklin going up and over the curb and spinning round, managed to keep the kart facing in the right direction when it came down to land, and there is your winner, the number 11 of Gracie Mitchell, picking up the win for the final here at the NRG Cycles owner-driver sprint series at Teesside Karting. 2 more races for you before we bring the 2019 season to a close. The first one of those will be our 2-stroke class, and they are lining up in the background. They'll be out for a rolling start very, very shortly. Welcome back to our 2-stroke class here at Teesside Karting for the NRG Cycles owner-driver sprint series. Pole position for our 2-stroke class will be taken by the number 18 of Cowes Cole, the 2019 Munster Karting champion and Tully Allen Kart Club 165 Rotax champion. She'll line up alongside Daniel Kell in the number 89 kart, heat driver who recently finished 2nd in the Class B Northern Saloon and Sports Car Championship at the wheel of his Ford Sierra. So they'll line up on the front row. Behind them, we will have Ryan Elliott and Andrew Powell. Row 3 is Andy Ambrose and Paul Swan, and the green flag has dropped and we are underway. The outside line is normally quite helpful here because they get a good set of grip, but Callis Coles used the inside to hold firm, and she will lead through on the opening lap. Powell's come through from row number 2 to move Kell down into 3rd position. So it's going to be Cole, Powell and Kell, the top 3, with Ryan Elliott 4th, Ambrose 5th, Paul Swan in 6th, Max Prentice in there as well in the number 33 in his battle with Jude Cole for our junior championship. Sandro Ballesteros and James Austin, drivers in the midfield, sorting themselves out into single file. Alfie Lindsay in there as well in that bright yellow helmet in the number 86 car, as our 2-stroke class come through the chicane for the first time to cross the line, and Cowes Cole leads from Dan Kell, who's got himself back in front of Andrew Powell. So it'll be Cole and Kell leading the way. Powell, Elliott, Ambrose, Prentice there on the back of Swan, Lowther coming through in the number 8 kart. Certainly had a lot of pace in heat number 3. Seems to have got himself into a nice rhythm, but he can't get past Paul Swan. A little bit of contact there going into the South Bank loop. 12 laps for our 2-stroke drivers here at Teesside Karting on the national circuit. Max Prentice in behind Lowther as they come over the line. Lowther in 7th, Prentice 8th, Cole in 9th. Ballesteros 10th in 3rd place in the class. Lowther's going to force his way past Paul Swan, and he does. Eases the kart onto the inside of him. Swan has no other option but to allow Lowther to take the position from him. So Lowther up to 6th, Swan down to 7th. Prentice leads juniors. There he is, heading off into the background with the number 77 of Jude Cole in tow. Ballesteros 3rd in that class. In the number 19 has James Austin as a cushion. Back to Alfie Lindsay, who's 4th in class. So a little bit of respite for the 19 of Ballesteros, and I'm sure, having raced now in 2 qualifying sessions and 8 races, I think he'll be just about ready for bed at the time the checkered flag drops. Cole, though, leads. 3/10 is the gap between her and Cole. Andrew Powell gives Ryan Elliott a little bit of a nudge down the back straight and helps Elliott on his way. Elliott up to 3rd, Powell down to 4th behind them. Our 2019 senior champion, the number 44 of Andy Ambrose. Cole, though, comes through. That's 4 laps in the book of 12 here at Teesside Karting in our mixed 2-stroke class. Prentice has got past Swan for 7th, still leads the junior class, moves Swan down to 8th, gives himself a cushion back to Jude Cole. Cole in 2nd, Ballesteros in 3rd in the class. Then we've got Powell now coming under pressure from Andy Ambrose. It's given Elliott a bit of a break to move out, but at the front, Dan Kell is all over the back of Cals Cole as Andy Ambrose picks up a contact warning, but then isn't that bothered, dives down the inside of Andrew Powell and goes up into 4th place. Powell will drop down to 5th. Might even get 3rd as Elliott has to go round the outside of a back marker. That's slowed Elliott slightly, and it's allowed Ambrose to close right in on the back. They're going to come up to the number 43 next, our leaders. Cals Cole still leads, but it's a Dan Kell right up onto the back of her, so we're closing the gap for the lead, and they're right up onto the back of another back marker as they go up to hairpin number 4. There they are in the background. We focus on the battle for 3rd, which sees Ryan Elliott coming under pressure from the number 44 of Andy Ambrose. Powell's dropped back a little bit. They're going to go right round the outside of the 43 of Harry Pullen into the first corner after the start line into the bus stop chicane. Everybody makes their way comfortably through. Pullen there making his debut in the number 43 in the background. Currently runs in 18th place, chasing down Jay Smith in the Minimax in the number 3. We are at half race distance, and the gap at the front is incredibly tight between Kell and Cole. Then we have Elliott, Ambrose and Powell battling it out for 3rd. As our 5 leaders come through, then there's going to be a gap back to Lowther, who, whilst managed to get past Prentice and Swan, has not been able to make the inroads that he would have liked into the number 79 of Andrew Powell. Our leading 5 making their way through some back markers now. They've got some clear track as our leaders head down the back straight. So they've lapped everybody up to 17th. Cole, though, continues to lead before remaining as she comes over the line, this time in the number 18 kart there. Bright yellow helmet being chased down by the number 89 of Dan Kell. Elliott leaves a bit of a gap, and Ambrose tries to dive down the inside of it. That's going to play into the hands of Powell in 5th. That's Jay Smith in the background, and we've got a change for the lead there. Dan Kell has gone down the inside of Cals Cole into the hairpin section. Cole's going to come back to the inside and retakes the lead. Dan Kell's going to have to try and run right round the outside. Looks like Cole has managed to hold the lead. She has, and she returns to the front of the pack. Andy Ambrose continues, though, to attack the number 66 of Elliott. 3 laps remaining. the leaders battling it out, and there's a back marker in play as well. And that has allowed Dan Kell to move past Cals Cole. Catching the back markers there. So Dan Kell now leads under pressure though from Cals Cole, wanting to get herself back to the front. The back marker came into play. Andy Ambrose tries to go to the inside as they come up onto the back of the number 9 or 90 of Stephen Kell. All three of those are going to get bunched up on the back of the number 90. Another driver moves out of the way and allows the trio to make their way through. Kell, though, the 90, not yielding. The 66 is through. Ambrose, though, isn't. Neither is Powell. Stuck behind the number 90 of Stephen Kell with 2 laps remaining. Powell tries to go over the curb, see if he can get through. He does. Ambrose dives to the inside of the number 90 of Kell and gets through. 1.5 laps remaining for our leaders. Yellow flag out at hairpin number 3. Flags just in time for our leading pair to come through. Ambrose all over the back of Powell. Powell managing to get through with the aid of the back marker. He moves up to 4th. Ambrose down to 5th. Elliott, though, is down the track. Cals Cole sets the fastest lap of the race in her search for Daniel Kell at the front of the pack. And she's been balked by a back marker, and that could be race over in terms of a race victory for the number 18 of Cals Cole. Back marker got in the way, and Dan Kell may now have quite a comfortable run round South Bank into the right-hander of hairpin number 3, out of hairpin number 4. And it's going to be a final victory for the number 89 of Daniel Kell, followed home by the number 11 of Cals Cole. Dan Kell very, very happy with the performance there. Shakes his fist over the line. That's the first of 7 over, and Max Prentice has taken the victory for juniors. Ben Ficini comes through, and Alfie Lindsay completes our junior final. Cals Cole and Dan Kell show some appreciation to each other as they go down the back straight. Dan Kell with a superb victory. Cals Cole and Ryan Elliott complete the podium. In our senior class, Max Prentice, Ben Ficini and Alfie Lindsay complete our junior 2-stroke class podium. We had a couple of drivers drop out halfway through. Ballesteros dropping away from 2nd place or 3rd place where he was in that class, and finishes 2 laps down at the checkered flag. So congratulations to the number 89 of Dan Kell. He'll roll off, and that leaves us now with 1 remaining race of the 2019 NRG Cycles Owner-Driver Sprint Series. That's your champion going over the weighbridge, the number 44 of Andy Ambrose. And we'll take a little bit of time going over as we remove the transponders from a number of our karts. And then in the background we will have the final race of the day getting themselves out. There's your race winner, the number 89 of Daniel Kell, going up and over the weighbridge. So welcome back to Teesside Karting for the final race of the day and the final race of the 2019 NRG Cycles Owner-Driver Sprint Series. It's time for our senior Pro Kart drivers. They will very soon be making their way out onto the circuit after the recovery quad has collected one or two of our two-stroke drivers. We will be underway with the final race. It will see Connor Lucas on pole position in the championship winning number 43. There'll be 22 drivers on the senior Pro Kart grid. The last few of our two-stroke drivers going over the weighbridge, and then we'll be underway with the final race of the season. Before we get to that though, please let me just express our thanks to our live stream sponsors, NRG Cycles, for their support throughout the season, which has allowed Alpha Live to bring you pictures from all 9 rounds of the Owner-Driver Sprint Series here at Teesside Karting. And thankfully we are ending in the winter sunshine on a dry day after the cold weather conditions and rain that we had earlier on yesterday and in the season. The drivers are out on track. We are moments away from the final race of the 2019 NRG Cycles Owner-Driver Sprint Series. I am David Sullivan. I'll be taking you through the final 10 laps of action for our Pro Kart drivers as they make their way out of the dummy grid and will make their way round. They'll be stopped just before the start line and sent on their way to form up the grid. On the front row will be the number 43 of Connor Lucas. He will line up alongside Josh Folkus in the O-plate. Row number 2 will be the 111 of Jake Brooker. He will be alongside the 113 of Ben Fallon. Then row 3 will be Rob Lowe and Scott Tate. So the front row rolls forward inside pole position. In the yellow, pink and blue kart is Connor Lucas, the 2019 series champion. Brooker in 3rd, Fallon 4th, Lowe 5th, Tate in 6th. Harris rolls into shot for 7th alongside Paul White in 8th. Nigel Richardson in 9th, Danielle Gardner in 10th. All she has to do is beat the number 52 of Connor White, and the 2019 Clubman Championship will be going home with her. David Brewis in the 80 rolls into shot in the background alongside Thomas Lowther in the 186. The final row making their way into position, Alban Dowell and the number 4 of Josh Yeadon. Marshall just making sure everybody is in their correct positions and getting himself set. So for the final time in 2019, the green flag is in hand. It's up, it's down, and we are racing in senior Pro Kart. Poor start from Josh Folkus. He gets a little nudge in the background by Ben Fallon. Not for the first time today, as Folkus had a stuttering start, and Jake Brooker is through into 2nd place, and he will follow Connor Lucas through the chicanes for the first time of 12 senior Pro Kart laps. Everybody makes their way through the chicane very, very comfortably. In the background, Josh Eden gets himself through. So all 22 drivers are out and onto the back straight. It's Connor Lucas, Jake Brooker and Rob Lowe, 1, 2, 3, and they've broken away as Josh Folkus dives to the inside of Sam Harris, both of them picking up contact warnings on the opening lap. Harris forces Fallon wide in the 111, Tate behind him in their battle for 4th. Behind them, Paul White a little way back, looking to get on. Connor White has made a great start and gets in front of Danielle Gardner in their battle, but 2 places is not going to be enough, I don't think, for Connor White to steal the trophy at the final round. Lucas into the left-hand hairpin of hairpin number 2 and out onto the back straight as we watch the battle carry on through the midfield. There is Gardner. She's following the number 13 of Martin Black. They are in 11th and 12th. Looks like Ross Jackman, who was in 13th, has peeled off into the pits, and that will be a premature end to the season for the 117 kart. The lead trio are through and over the line. Josh Fulkus trying to close the gap down and trying to reel in the top three. Not making much inroad at the moment though. So it's Lucas, Brooker, Lowe, Fulkus, Harris and Fallon. Tate, White, Connor White, Nigel Richardson, Martin Black and Danielle Gardner. So 52 of Connor White has the bit between his teeth, and he's trying to push on and score as many points as he possibly can, but he dropped at least 11 of those in the first heat of the day and has been beaten by Gardner in the other two, but more points available in the final. So as we see Sam Harris and Ben Fallon battling it out over fifth, that's allowed Josh Fulkus in the O-plate to break free, and he's trying to catch up with the number 64 of Rob Lowe. Nigel Richardson, our leading 40s driver, as he has been for most of the day, running in 10th place in the number 19. Has a couple of drivers between him and David Brewis in the number 80 in the battle for 40s supremacy. Martin Black onto the back straight, chasing down Connor White and Nigel Richardson. All three of those running together. Gardner a little way back. Richardson's going to try and go to the inside of Connor White. White went very wide. Gave Richardson an invite, then took it away very, very quickly. Richardson follows the number 52 through the sweeping bends and over the start line. 4 laps down, and Connor Lucas has a lead of just under half a second from Jake Brooker. And he's got a gap back as well to Rob Lowe, the top three. Lowe under pressure from Fulkus for third place. We just saw them flash through. Behind them we have the battle for fourth, or for fifth. Fallon has got in front of Harris. Behind them Tate and White in the 4-1-1. Connor White is in behind them. Nigel Richardson and Martin Black. Danielle Gardner as well in the mix in the battle for 9th place. Fallon leads the battle for 5th place out of the final section of corners, over the line and through the bus stop chicane. Fulkus has got past Lowe for third off camera, but he's certainly there now and sets off in search of Jake Brooker in the 1-1-1. See if he can get past him and then take the fight to the number 43. We have 7 laps remaining of this 12-lap Senior Pro Kart final. Battle for 5th with Fallon, Harris, Tate and White there in the background, down the back straight, as Fulkus certainly looks to be closing on the back of Brooker. Brooker in turn looks to be closing in on the back of Lucas as well. It was half a second last time. It's similar this time, but Fulkus sets the fastest lap of the race with a 46.359. Brooker bouncing up through over the curbs. Everybody going smoothly through the chicanes. There is your race leader, Connor Lucas. Brooker, everybody getting their head down in the wind, trying to clear some of the resistance. So the top 3, Lucas, Brooker and Fulkus. Fulkus right now on the back of the 111 of Jake Brooker, yesterday's final winner. A superb effort from him, won the final by almost 5 seconds. Once he got himself out into the lead and broke the toe a couple of laps in from the 55 of David Brown, he was off and away into the distance. Today he's got a little bit more work to do as he tries to close down the lead of Connor Lucas, whilst also keeping the O-plate of Josh Fulkus behind him. I wonder if those two are going to work together for a few laps to try and close that gap down. Fulkus follows Brooker round the south bank, cuts across and throws it into the right-hander. Brooker sits in the middle of the track, doesn't leave the gap to the inside of hairpin number 4 for Fulkus. looking after his second place, which is a first in class overall in the clubman class. That class with the red numbers has Rob Lowe in second and Paul White in third place. Then we have Nigel Richardson, David Brewis, Steve Nicol, top 3 in 40s. Connor White is 10th, Danielle Gardner is 14th. Those two are the top 2 in the current clubman class. As Focus goes to the inside of Brooker, Brooker has to go out wide over the curb, bounces over the concrete, but bounces himself back into second place. Goes wide though round the South Bank corner, and Josh Focus slides through into second place. He's going to get that move completed. He has done. Will Brooker look to come back to the inside? They go side by side, up and over the start line, but Focus has a shorter distance into the bus stop chicane and takes second place from Jake Brooker. So now it's Lucas from Focus and Brooker. Low in the background, lurking, getting ready to pounce should there a mistake be made. Then we have Fallon in the 113. Sam Harris has a little bit of a gap in the background from Paul White, who's in 7th, Scott Tate in 8th, all running together. There they go out into the back straight. Tate moved to the inside. Our leader, though, has a little bit more of a gap now, 1.3 seconds, as Focus and Brooker argued over second place, allowing him to move away at the head of the field. Rob Lowe on the back of Jake Brooker, battling for the clubman win between those two. Brooker currently leading, looking to add to his victory from yesterday as Paul White moves up to 6th. Scott Tate into 7th. Sam Harris drops from 6th down to 8th place on that last lap, with 2 remaining here in the final race of the 2019 season of the NRG Cycles owner-driver sprint. And once again, it's Connor Lucas out at the front of the pack from Josh Focus and Jake Brooker. Rob Lowe, Ben Fallon, Paul White, Scott Tate, Sam Harris, Martin Black and Connor White round out the top 10. White in 10th, Gardner in 12th. That's the championship battle that we're looking at for the Clubman Trophy. The Pro Trophy already been taken by the number 43, the current race leader, Connor Lucas, who's just gone through to take the last lap board. So he's going to have 50 seconds remaining of the 2019 season. He's going to be out onto the back straight and he will have half a lap before once again he sees the checkered flag for the first time. Lucas round South Bank. The battle though for Clubman honours. Jake Brooker leads that race in 3rd overall from Rob Lowe. Brooker round turn 4. He's going to win Clubman again for the second time in 2 days. He took an overall win yesterday, but Connor Lucas comes through to take the checkered flag whilst holding the side pod as well for good measure. Lucas, Focus, Brooker and Lowe. Fallon, White, they're all over the line. White gets 6th, Tate 7th, Harris 8th, Black 9th. Connor White in 10th. Nigel Richardson gets 11th, Danielle Gardner 12th, Brewis 13th, Tate 14th, Steve Nichols 15th. Tom Lowther, Emma Brown, Simon Doughty, Alban Dowell and Josh Eden. With a 12th place, that looks like it will be just enough to crown Danielle Gardner as the 2019 Clubman champion here at Teesside Karting, holding off the battle of Connor White. And it went right down to the wire at the end. So as we see our drivers exit the circuit for the final time, the top 3, Connor Lucas, Josh Focus and Jake Brooker head off the track. Brooker will pick up the win for the Clubman class as well. Rob Lowe coming through in 2nd, that battle being won by Brooker. So as we see our drivers coming over the weighbridge for the final time, that brings an end to the 2019 NRG Cycles owner-driver sprint series here at Teesside Karting. Thank you to Kat and Paul and all of the team here at Teesside Karting for putting on a wonderful event as always, along with our marshals who work tirelessly throughout the day, and our medical team. So as we see Nigel Richardson come over, our over 40s winner, holding off the battle of Mark Tate, our over 40s champion, behind him. It just leaves me to thank NRG Cycles for their season-long sponsorship of the live stream here on Alpha Live. Thank you very much as well to our team at Alpha Live, with producer Chris and director Shane, and Nick and James out on the roaming cameras, supplementing the static cameras that we have as well out there on the circuit. So for the final time here at Teesside Karting in 2019, from myself, David Sullivan, and all of the team here, thank you very much for joining us at Teesside, and we will hope to see you again at some point in the future. Thank you very much for joining us.